And we are live. Welcome to the Uncensored Entrepreneurs. Today, we're just like thrilled, as you can already see. We have all four of us, all co-hosts are here today. So we're really, really excited about that. And today, we're just going to kind of piggyback on the fact that, we're going to capitalize on this opportunity of our reuniting, right? The power of collaboration,
Reunited and it
right?
feels so good.
The power of collaboration and together again. And so, one of the things that we can definitely present in today's show is the fact that you can still build your own personal brand and your business while cultivating your joint ventures and these collaborations like this show. And so sit back. You won't want to miss this. We're going to have a little fun on today's episode, and stay tuned. We'll see you on the inside.
I probably started singing when I'm like sick as a dog.
And we are back. Yeah. So, anyways, I'm really excited, right? We've obviously had a few weeks where we've been hit or miss with each other, and we've done our best. We've also shared some great replays along the way, and that's just what happens in business, right? And that's what happens when you actually have a live show. Most of the podcasts and most of the video shows that you see out there, they're pre-recorded. And so we do a little bit of that, but we're really trying our best to still bring you some awesome live behind the scenes, no matter what, information. And so with that being said, I know that we've all got a lot of things going on. So let's just kind of greet one another and talk about what's been happening in our lives over the last month. And we'll take it from there. So anyone want to kick it off? Tina, I know you may have to cut in and out, right? You've been sick.
Listen, I have pneumonia. Over just the end of it. I'm like working on 2 weeks now, but
And she's on the show. Yeah.
I mean, I haven't been on the show because the last 2 weeks I've like really, really sick. So I'm getting over it. So that if you hear me start hacking, I'm going to mute myself. So I'm very, very sorry. But so the last, let's see, 8 weeks, we found a house. We packed up everything that we had. We moved into our new home, unpacked everything we had, decorated the whole house, decorated for fall, decorated for Halloween, and I got super sick. And I'm like, oh, this is just great.
You wore yourself completely out. Yeah. And on
So-
top of that, you were still running a business, right?
Yeah, still running a business. And on top of all of that, and Robert, I'm so sorry, but the two girls will completely understand. Maybe not as much, but they will very soon. I have officially full on hit menopause. And
I didn't expect that. Okay, keep going.
I will be 50 years old in 2 months. And we're all going through it. You just don't know it. And this year it has just really hit me. And like the brain fog, I'd be talking it and I'm like, wait, what? What was that? What was that word? The thing to get on Facebook. That's what it was.
Yeah,
and they're like,
right,
what?
Right.
I'm like,
again.
I'm like the brain fog. I can't sleep. It's been horrible. So
I've heard. Obviously,
my holistic doctor on the show here next month.
Oh, there you go.
Because she has helped me a lot with non-hormonal type of things. I mean, it is hormone replacement, but it's bioidentical hormone type of stuff. So I've been dealing with that too. So yeah. Mm-hmm. And you know what? I know people don't like to talk about it, but every woman is going to go through it. Every single person. So if you're listening and you're a woman, you're going to go through it. So good luck.
Again, you know what? Here on the Uncensored Entrepreneurs, we are real, raw, unplugged,
And uncensored.
menopause or not, right? We're putting it all out there. So, although you threw, me for a curveball because I didn't know you were gonna blast out with that, but it is right.
Yeah, at least I didn't tell you I was pregnant.
that's still just a fact of life, right? So these are the things that we're talking about on a regular basis, the things that you don't see on social media, right? With any nice little edited videos, no one talks about the challenges that we face and what it's like to run a business and to still be, each one of us are coaches, right? So we're serving people on a daily basis. And so when you're showing up to give the best and you aren't always feeling the best, it's a tough thing, right? So let's continue to piggyback off of that. Christina, welcome back. It's so nice. I know you've got another event going on as well, but you've been on a journey, right? You've kind of been on your own little tour for a while, going all the way back to once you hit time.
Poor girl has been working so hard. She's going to Greece.
Once you hit Times Square, right, and then you go off to Greece. One of my favorite places away from home. And so we haven't seen you, in a little while, but tell us a little bit about your journey.
Oh, you're muted, baby.
You're muted. So you're not telling us much right now. But.
About that. Okay, so first of all, I missed you guys so much. Like, honestly, I look forward to this and bantering back and forth with you guys every Thursday. So I really missed you. It's been an interesting year. When you have another baby, you kind of forget, like, especially if there's 8 years in between, you forget what it's like. So I believe in working hard to play hard. And I worked really hard before he was born and for those first couple of weeks. And then I was like, you know what? I don't get to redo this. Like, I don't get this time back. And so I was really conscious, and I had this like inner battle. I don't know, like if you're a mom and you have kids and you're working, you probably have had this inner battle before. And I'm like, no, I have to spend the time with my baby and cuddle and like all these things that I'm never going to get back. But I got to go to work and I got to make money and I got to do this. And so I had this like internal struggle, but I think I did pretty well for balance over the last, 7. He's now 8 months. Can you believe that? 8 months old.
Isaac, stop growing.
I know, he's almost crawling and it's just crazy. And so, yeah, I took the summer, and I don't feel guilty about it. I feel amazing. I went home to Canada for a month. I went to Europe for 3 weeks and got to do some incredible things with my family. That was an earned trip. Most of it was paid for. And then we stayed an extra 10 days and got to bring my mom. Like, this is why we do these things. And we, 2% of people sit in this space that they're action takers. Then there are 98% of people that are drifters and just kind of do the same thing over and over and over again. And this is why we sit in this 2% space, so we can live like most people can't. But man, it is the most gratifying thing. And so I have come out of this fog. I knew that Europe was going to be my last hurrah. And then I'm like, I'm ready to get to work now. So I've been on a 3-day webinar with Russell Brunson. I'm building out a new funnel. I'm launching new offers. I've got things coming up that I'm super excited about, ready to dig in with the company again and build that business. Like, I am just ready to go. And so it's been really cool. And Tina, I really relate to the whole house thing. We've been down here in Mexico staying in the same 3-bedroom condo that we have definitely outgrown for the last 3 years. Like, it's been 3 years that we've been in Mexico now. And so we're about a month out from moving into our house. That's what they tell us. I ordered furniture just to put the pressure on. So, we're in that same space of like, okay, I can't wait to get into this new space and get set up. And like, my podcast studio is not in my living room because like, here's the Uncensored Entrepreneurs, guys. Like, this is my messy living room there's my nanny Patty. She's amazing. She's here to help with the baby when he gets up, right? So like, this is where my studio's been. And I realized over the last few months, like, I haven't been super stoked on doing podcasts. And I haven't been super stoked on keeping up on that because I'm in the middle of a tornado with a baby and I'm trying to stay focused. So really looking forward to that next step and really just happy to be back here with you guys.
It's so nice to have new furniture. We ordered that beautiful cloud couch that everybody's talking about, and that came in, and Tony put it together, and I'm just like, oh, it's so pretty. Yeah. So I'm doing the same thing, and it's so nice now that everything is done. I have my office set up. We have a whole loft upstairs in our house that I have our office in. And it is so hard when you're moving because internet's not on, this is not unpacked. For the longest time, I couldn't find my keyboard. I was like, I cannot find it. Where did I put it? You know what it was in? It was in my underwear drawer. So it was
okay. So that either tells us that you hadn't. Never mind. I'm not going to go there. All right, we'll leave it.
Probably the last thing I grabbed, and I was just like, "Here, put it in here."
Wow. See, this is what we're talking about: real, raw, unplugged, and these are just like the normal challenge that most people actually face. Right? It's why they don't start a business, and I think you alluded to that, Christina. The fact that we sit in this 2%. Most people jump ship in the first 3 years because they don't know how to balance, right? The hurricanes that come along the way. And I mean, physical as well, right? I'm going to share some of that in a moment.
Yeah, you guys.
With everything that's happening. But before I go, because it's always ladies first, Starr, let's turn it over to you real quick. Tell us what's been going on in your life.
Oh, I don't have anything new and exciting like the ladies. I've just been
nothing happened in the last 8 weeks, Starr. You know something happened.
Other than my son being sick. But I really like the point that Christina made about all of the work that she put in. And I feel like my focus for the last 2 years has been really trying to work on increasing my MRR. And that's my monthly recurring revenue. So that way I do have that flexibility if I need to take off, or like Christina, she decided she was going to take the summer off. We still have that income coming in, right? We still are working on building a savings and all of the things that we can do to be able to live that lifestyle that we want. So many people don't work on their business because they're focused on their job and, oh, I have to go to work. And then they're living paycheck to paycheck, which is something that I don't believe in. And so, yeah, I think I really love that share. And I thought about Christina. I was like, how is Izzy out of school? I'm going to have to tap into that.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Your baby was on the last trip. I think she would have been in school, right? But she was.
Yeah. So when we went to Europe, yes. And we even went to the school. Like, I'm lucky I have a smart little kiddo. And so she finishes all her work ahead of time. She gets all these great grades, right? Like, so we went to the teacher.
We're going to Greece for 2 weeks.
I'm like, we're going to learn about history. And it was so interesting. Like, honestly, being in Greece and teaching her about democracy and history and like what happened to people when they went against the government and all this stuff in history. It's like wild, the stuff that she's like picked up.
And excitement when you showed her dream come true, seeing the freaking Eiffel Tower.
She honestly, I didn't show it, but when I told, she got very overwhelmed when she finally figured out we're going to Paris, like in the airport, because we told her that morning. It was just a 5-hour layover. We went, we took pictures, and then we left, and we got a little treat on the way. But she started crying. She was so overwhelmed. And I'm like, okay, now I know that you react like your dad when you get surprises. Like, it gets very overwhelming and you're not necessarily, you'd rather lead up to it. But, we asked her, what was your favorite part of our whole 3-week trip? And she said, going to Paris. And we were there for 3 hours,
Is she familiar with Fancy Nancy? Have you ever heard of this series?
Yes, we had Fancy Nancy. And it was Cat Noir and Ladybug.
Yeah, both of those, right? Because they're filmed like there, right? And they're always talking about being so fancy, but Cat Noir is awesome. I even like watching those with my dad.
I do too.
Yeah.
I have no idea what you guys are talking about. My kids are grown. I don't have to listen and watch Teletubbies and Caillou and Blue's Clues anymore.
Yeah, that's right. So that is, by the way, you're speaking my language when it comes to travel. Everyone knows that, we try to take at least 3 major trips a year because it really breaks up all the hard work that you've been doing. And it's taken a little while to revamp. Like pre-COVID, we were going on like 4 trips, amazing trips a year, trying to hit all these destinations. And then of course it took a little while to revamp coming out, but there's nothing better like than vacationing and those trips. And I don't want to get off on a tangent, but I will just say this, because I think it applies to life and business. When you think of like the latest car that you're wanting to purchase, or a bigger TV, or some new technology, or whatever it may be, like 10 years from now, you really don't talk about those things. In most cases, you won't even remember what the interior color is or what it was that really attracted you to these items. But every single vacation, we've ever been on. And I'm not even talking about the big ones, right? So, we're talking every single vacation, whether you even just jump in the car with a family and leave out of town for a little camping trip for a couple days in the middle of the woods, you will talk about some event or something that happened for the rest of your life. And so I think spending that time is so critical, and running a business, right? So when you talked about some things there, Tina, being able to unplug, being an entrepreneur and saving for these opportunities, meaning that when the times are good, when the times are rich in business, you need to bank that, right? And I think you alluded to that as well, Starr. Like, you need to put systems in place, and you need to prepare so that you can bank these things and then still be able to unplug just a little bit and have some opportunity with family, because that's what it's all about. Every entrepreneur will say, I work extremely hard for X, and that X is usually family, relationships, whatever it may be. And tomorrow, unfortunately, is not promised, right? I'm kind of lead into that a little bit on a couple notes. So anyone that actually has experienced, this hurricane,
Don't make me
or
cry, Robert. Just honestly, don't make me cry, because I've seen so much from North Carolina.
Yeah, I
like,
won't
can't
give.
even watch anymore.
I'm not going to give too many details. I think
Okay.
people could look that up on their own. But I'll just say, two hurricanes, quite honestly. But being where I'm at here in the Greenville, South Carolina area, we've never seen something come this far inland. And the fact that it didn't just come, all the way up here through Florida, through multiple states, but it continued to be, intensify as it was building. Yeah. And they're equating it to 12 tornadoes, like basically in a group, right? It wiped out entire towns. There's a great deal of loss. There are years of rebuilding in certain areas and communities here. And I'll put the doom and gloom kind of aside. We've done, a lot of work to try to help those in need. But what I will say is this: I want to make note that entrepreneurs are coming out of the woodwork. People locally, people I know that own trucking companies, people I know that own, construction companies, they are working around the clock, donating their services, donating their equipment, right? When they could be out filling their capacity in, their moving trucks. They're out there donating half of their fleet to be able to move supplies back and forth up into North Carolina. And so I just want to give a quick, just a blanket shout out to all the entrepreneurs that are realizing when they could be making money right now, they are serving and helping the communities. And that is what it's really all about. And that's what gives me kind of this re-energized focus that not only am I working really, really hard for self and family, right? And then to amplify some other things that pertain to my core values in life, right? My faith, helping others, but really, I should be able to bank for these type of events. I should be able to be prepared to serve those in a bigger way when they need it, when they have nothing, right? We're talking not just no power, fresh water, food, etc. We're talking their entire homes are gone, let alone the loss of life. So again, a prayer and an acknowledgement to all those that have suffered through that. Let's take it kind of a step further. So, that was been a big part of what we experienced in these last few weeks. And so we played a couple of replays while everyone was getting back to business, getting their power back on. There's still people without power here in the Carolinas. Yeah. And so hopefully we continue.
In Georgia, like Savannah area. Yeah. A lot of my friends in Savannah were without power for 3 weeks.
Yeah. Yeah. It's crazy. I mean, and there's still some grids down. Yeah. And then, so a couple other things that are coming up. Let me see here. I've got family coming in town. Our little one turns 3 on October 29th. Woo, that's our Halloween baby. So we're really, really excited. And
Halloween baby too. My middle child will be 26 on the 27th.
Oh, that is awesome. Yeah, see those Halloween babies. So we're doing that. That's going to be the theme of her birthday. All the kids are going to dress up. We just said, might as well, right? You already have everything. Let's dress up. Let's have.
And he loved Halloween, so we always combine the two.
I want to know what you guys are being for Halloween.
Oh, all right. Let's.
Tony and I, because we are going to be at Faith Over Fear next week. So at Faith Over Fear, there's a Wings and Bling Halloween costume party. So I have these metallic silver glittery pants and this whole light up wing thing with this tiara. So Tony is gonna
Does
be
this surprise anyone, by the way,
Tony
when she
doesn't
says
know.
glitter and light up and in wings? No, it doesn't surprise me at all.
no, so me and Tyla are like completely she made like her big old wings and everything. And so I know Jessica's gonna be all decked out too. So we are that for Halloween. That's what we're gonna be.
Fun. Robert,
Awesome.
what about you? What do you got?
He's gonna be the fairy prince from he has daughters, so he has to match the girls.
Oh, you were asking me. You were asking
Yeah.
me. Okay, so we do dress up every year. I think I've probably mentioned that on the show before. When Kelly and I started dating, we just thought it'd be fun to kind of relive that again and dress up. And then as we were building our family together, right? We usually have kind of a theme. Sometimes we let the kids pick it, and sometimes we just kind of blend in some ideas. This year, because it's so hot in our household, have you ever heard of Bluey?
Yes.
Okay. So Bluey's a pretty big children's show. And it's, I think, what, Australian based, right? Is that, I think so. And so we're the whole family. And quite honestly,
We have got to see pictures.
and quite honestly, if you ever watch an episode of Bluey, by the way, for those that are watching now or listening
Blue's
later.
Clues, like Blue's Clues.
No. It's called Bluey. You'll have to look it up. We actually are exactly. This is basically our life. Like, just watch an episode and you'll know what it's like to live in our household. There's the husband and wife, right? So the parents, that's going to be Kelly and I. And then we're basically dingoes. We're dingo dogs, right? So, and then
what, a dingo?
we're dingoes. Yeah, we're dingoes. So you just look it up. And then they have 2 daughters, right? Just like Kelly and I. And so it's exactly the same. The trials they go through, the quirky things where the dad gets kind of reeled into, make believe and playing things with the girls. That's me all day. Kelly, the mom rolling her eyes, bringing us back into reality, basically, giving us a little check. The whole thing is going to be, it's going to be pretty fun. So we've got costumes.
Okay, Robert, what was so you and Kelly have been married for a long time. What was your favorite Halloween costume that you guys did?
Oh, we've done quite a few pretty fun ones. I will say my favorite one, just Kelly and I, right before the kids came along. I was Roger Rabbit and she was Jessica Rabbit.
Oh yeah.
So Kelly was, you could already imagine, she was decking it out.
You got to send me those pictures.
All right. She was decking it out, showing all the assets, and of course, then I had to be the goofy Roger Rabbit, right? So, anyways, that was a pretty fun one.
Okay, so what about with the kids?
Like last year we did Pokemon, so we were kind of all the characters and all that.
My kids were all Pokemon for a year.
Yeah, and then that was 2 years ago. I'm sorry. Last year was Super Mario, so that was a fun one as well. I think that with Stacy, one fun one we did was the Flintstones. So you had Wilma, you had Fred, and then she was Pebbles. So that was pretty cool.
Oh, nice. I was Pebbles in high school one time. Starr, what about you? Do you guys dress up at all for Halloween?
Just the boys. They're boys, so they just want to pick the scary costume, and that's
my kids.
I didn't grow up celebrating holidays, so it's like whatever to me. But I know they enjoy it, so we take them to get their candy, and we also give out candy as well. So
you, of course, look for the candy. Make sure there's no razor blades and all that kind of stuff, and make sure the chocolate, the good Twix, and the Snickers bar are not like opened slightly.
Exactly, just the candy that looks legitimate.
Yeah, but Tina, you're going back into those. We won't give away the year. You're going back to those days when, right? Like,
no, I still look at my kids' candy now.
We were all afraid of razor blades and poison, right?
There's real razor blades in them. I'm just saying, to get my own personal candy out of there.
Oh, okay. I got you.
They have said that they put like drugs in some of the candy and things like that. So you still do have to.
That is true. We do look for.
I grew up in California, so we have pretty bad stuff Oh my God.
anything open like already or punctured or whatever, it's gone, right?
Yeah.
We sort through all that.
But no, I was talking about, the parents going through the candy to make sure the
Wow,
stuff
yes.
was
Oh, you mean you're just taking
Testing it. Let me try this.
Testing it out.
Yeah, absolutely.
Christina, what about you? Are the kids dressing up?
Yeah, we're gonna be M&Ms. We're all gonna be M&Ms.
Nice.
And it's funny because Ryan and I, it's our least favorite holiday, and it's because we worked in the bars, and so we would have to dress up in 3 different outfits for 3 nights. It brought out the rookies. It was always New Year's Eve and Halloween that the rookies came out and puked everywhere because they never drank, and it was terrible. So we really hate Halloween, but it's so like Izzy's so excited about it.
Alcoholics out there.
There's my little dude. And so same kind of thing. But have you guys ever we also don't love candy. Like my kid, probably you guys too. Your kids turn into animals after candy, like after sugar. And so what we have done, we started with like the Switch Witch, which was like, okay, you can eat as much candy as you want on Halloween night, and then we take it and you get a present instead. We don't really call it the Switch Witch anymore. There's no magic behind it. Izzy's like, can I have a Barbie instead of this candy? I'm like, absolutely. Like,
yeah, I like that though. That's an interesting concept. I never thought about it that way. And we definitely regulate, like without a doubt. It's like, would you like a piece of candy today if you eat all of your meal?
yes.
And that is so bizarre and crazy to think, because when we were kids, we would finish bags of candy. Like, I don't even know how we made it. It was just like, there was no limit. We would go all out. And I definitely.
For weeks afterwards, we had candy.
Yeah.
It was different back then though. Like, they didn't use all the dyes. They didn't use all the stuff.
On.
I like that.
I like it. Yeah. And that's the other thing, is that when they celebrate Day of the Dead down here, and so they have that day off. And I actually really like that tradition. I like that they celebrate it 2 days in a row. So they celebrate it for babies on one day, and then they celebrate it for adults on the other. And they just they put little altars and bring their favorite foods and stuff. And I feel like that is such a beautiful tradition. So it's something that I actually really appreciate about learning other cultures and being immersed in it, right? Because there's a lot of things here that we don't do in Canada that are like beautiful traditions, and you wouldn't know unless you were in it,
Yeah.
Well, speaking of Canada, you guys just celebrated Thanksgiving, didn't you?
We did. Yeah, we did. We didn't celebrate down here. We're on a 21-day reset. Like, we're on a metabolic reset right now, because I'm finally like, okay, now I got to take my health seriously. Also important in entrepreneurship that a lot of the times, we go hours without eating, or we don't go to the gym, and we don't do the things that are really good for us because we sacrifice those things building business. It's not sustainable.
Burnout is real. And by the way, I've been doing, some travel as well, right? When you're going to events. And it seems like when you're on the go, you sacrifice those healthy meals with the things that are, out of convenience. And nothing out of convenience is ever good for you. It just unfortunately is not.
But I was forced into it. So Monday I went to the doctor and I was placed on blood pressure medication. This is very scary. You guys were chatting. I think we rescheduled the show and I didn't really say anything. My head was pounding so hard. I don't know if it was maybe the week last week, and I just said, I just want to get rid of this headache until we get on the
oh, thank God.
And I was like, sometimes I have to take Excedrin for these migraines. Well, I had high blood pressure.
You had hypertension was setting in. By the way, just so that you know, Starr, I take a very low dosage as well. And I've kind of been on and off. It's weird. I was able to get myself off. And then as I got older, it just naturally was like unavoidable. I went back on it again. But so there's no shame is what I'm saying and what you're going through.
I feel guilty because, I had back injury and I was out most of the year. I think it was 2023. So that added to the weight gain. And then I got used to not moving around as much, and then obviously like we're working from home and we're on the computers and all of that stuff, and every time we have someone on the show, I'm so excited when they say, take care of your health and walk and do these things, and I'm like, I'm gonna do it, and I don't. So now like I'm literally forced. So just this week, like I've massively changed my diet in terms of food, and my back is still messed up, so that's the difficult part of me being able to like become active. But I was quite upset about it, but also I feel a lot better already just a few days later. I was having blurry vision. I don't know if I shared that with you guys, but I was experiencing all these things for like the past year, and I was like, where's my motivation and things like that, and it was
It's a real thing, right? I mean, I've gone into those panics when I first was, when I first needed that. And you're right. It's the blurry vision, it's the headaches, the migraines, all kinds of things.
Well, I was
contribute to
suffering
that.
badly from it. And it's a silent killer. So I do think that it's important that I share this because a lot of entrepreneurs don't have symptoms. Well, people in general, I'm sorry, not entrepreneurs, but they don't have symptoms. And
Yeah.
we as entrepreneurs, we're just working. But for me, I was experiencing these migraines for the past year and this blurriness, and then my vision is fine. And then it was just, so for me, it was a bit much to endure. And it got to the point where I started feeling really sick for the past 2 weeks. I'm like, I can't explain this feeling. What is this? And
So listen to your body, right? That's a good bullet point in itself. Is that as an entrepreneur, we tend to just go, and really I should just say society, as you just stated. We tend to live in the society of just like fast pace. It's go go go, a lot of expectations, even in the workplace, right? The demand is continuously increasing. It used to be 40 hours a week. It used to be 9 to 5, and now it's like, can you get in here by 7 and can you stay until 7 every single day? And can you take this work home? And by the way, then you've got kids and you're also doing homework with the kids and you're doing your own project. I mean, it just becomes overwhelming. And so you're right. A lot of that does weigh down on us. And so I think it's really important to do everything you're saying. Christina, you said, make sure you're in tune with your health and really taking care of yourself. Burnout and fatigue is a serious thing. I would imagine, I don't even need to ask you to raise your hands. Every single person that's even listening and everyone on the show has experienced that at some point in time. And that's another thing.
Your body does shut down. Like if you don't listen to it and your body tends to shut down, it takes you even longer to get out of that.
It's a defense mechanism, right? Your body, it crashes to prevent the most catastrophic thing you could think of. So true.
Yes, as entrepreneurs too need to, and believe me, Tony, like for the last couple of weeks, he's like, just sit down, stop doing things. It doesn't need to be done right now. And I'm like, no, I gotta fix this shelf. I gotta do this. Yeah. And he's just like, sit down. So I think us as entrepreneurs, just sitting there and relaxing and not doing nothing, not on your phone, scrolling through, doing nothing. I think we feel a little guilty doing that.
That is true, right? There's this, Kelly and I actually talk about this often when it comes to imposter syndrome, right? We'll just talk about that in a moment. When you see people that have already reached that kind of pinnacle level in their career and someone that you're following, you want, typically what they have or what they've achieved in their business, you feel like if I press pause, it's going to put me one step behind, actually obtaining that. And so that is a real thing, but that's why it's so important to be in tune with what's important to you, like today. And as much as I don't want to bring up the doom and gloom, in the last 6 years from COVID all the way until now, like through this whole process of just life, many collaborative partners, JV partners, are no longer with us, right? And they weren't old. I mean, and so we could break down all the reasons why we think maybe their health went in that direction. But let's just face it. Nothing, tomorrow is not promised. And so it's so important to just make sure that we're in tune with that. And even things like this, even great content and bringing you great, shows and opportunity and discussions, as critical as it is, and as much as we also preach consistency is important, you still need to live life, right? At the end of the day. And so it's important. And that's what we're doing. That's what we talk about on the show, is it doesn't always have to be the status quo. And so
you think about what's it all for, right? Like what's it all for?
Exactly.
You're doing all this work.
Perfect.
Why is it? Why? And I think the best thing that I ever learned as an entrepreneur, because in my early days, I did feel that hustle. I felt that competition. I felt like, oh my God, if I take a day off, I'm going to be behind. And I realized somewhere along this journey that it was about the journey I was creating. I get to create my daily life. I get to take the time off that I want. I remember reading Green Lights by Matthew McConaughey and being like, holy shit, he took like 2 years off or 3 months off to like just take a balcony view of his
Yeah.
life and like, where am I going next? And we don't do that often enough. And you're right, there's been some crazy trauma over the last 5 years. And, you know, you talked about North Carolina, and I had to actually like turn the information off because I was like physically getting upset by the loss that happened there. And
Kelly did as well. She had to unplug because she was like, and then that's another thing too. When you are doing well, when our power came back on and we had food in the fridge again, and you know that there's people like talking about their kids wandering around looking for their parents. And she was like, oh my gosh, I can't handle. She's like, I can't handle it. I don't know how, you know, even though we're helping, I don't know how to, you know, you start feeling guilty about the fact of that you have.
You do have,
But you know what I love that you brought up is, and this is what I wanted to focus on, is because we get, you know, sidelined by some of this stuff, and you know, those of us that are empathic see these things, and they can really physically upset you when you see them, because you're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that this is going on in the world. And we're all connected by technology now. We're like not supposed to know about everything that's going on in the world. We're literally supposed to know what's going on in our community and the people around us, right? So we're constantly being triggered by all this stuff, the wars that are going on that shouldn't be going on, the weather, all of these things. Florida, you know, everybody got hit, right? But here's what I want to tell you, because it can be really easy to be disheartened and be like, oh my God, this world is full of terrible people, right? Like you can go down that path. But I want to tell you that the stories like you told, Robert, with these entrepreneurs that are coming in with their private helicopters to save people, that are bringing in their trucks full of stuff to help people, that are overriding any BS, like bureaucratic BS, and coming in and truly helping people. And then on the other side of it, when we travel, there were people that we met that I was like, oh my gosh, there is good in the world. There are good people in the world. There's kindness everywhere that you go. And you have to be, you know, if you don't look for the gold, you're always going to see the dirt. And so if you continue to look for that gold and what are the positive things, you can pull yourself out of these despair moments or hopelessness moments, which, by the way, like 70% of our teenagers are feeling right now. That's hopelessness and this sadness, right? This is a conversation that we should be having, because let's start planting seeds of hope and like what we can do to help. And most of the time people are like, I don't know, like making money, there's this like negative stigma attached to money. You know what? I would love to have tens of millions, hundreds of millions in dollars and being able to do something for relief efforts. You know, you watch Elon Musk come in and give Starlink, you watch Trump come in and donate all this money, and I want to be in a position that I can go help people and not ever have to worry about being paid back and not ever have to worry about where that money's coming from. But that's another reason that I think entrepreneurs have this big, generous heart in them. Most entrepreneurs, they don't just want to make money and become rich. They want to make money and make an impact and give back. That is
so true. I actually, you know, it's interesting that you say that, because you know, right from high school, I went off into the military and I started my first business as well, like right away. At a young age. But even back then, it was kind of drilled into me. And every class I ever took, even, you know, that was like university driven, anything with academics, it drilled into me that money was bad, that the rich, you know, they were typically, like very snobby people that, you know, basically squashed and took advantage of the poor. And I tell you, over the years, every relationship I have, people that make millions, even billions of dollars, right? Like people at that level, I've actually never met a single, that's what blows my mind. I've never met a single millionaire that does not give and serve in some manner. I haven't met one yet. If anyone actually knows, anyone listening knows of a millionaire or a billionaire that does not serve others,
let's call them out.
Call them out. I'd like to have a conversation to find out why they haven't. And maybe let me kind of retract that. Maybe those that are not active or immersed in their wealth, meaning that those that are just, you know, maybe inherited and they're sitting back, that's a little bit different, right? They don't have an active business, no, you know, active interest in the community. But every single person I know that has any kind of a business around here, they're constantly giving and giving and giving of their time, their money, their resources. And so absolutely, we could talk about that forever, right? Whether or not they should be taxed more, or the fact that they give 50% of everything they do in the servitude of others. So with that being said, let's talk a little bit more about like building why is it so important to build relationships along the way? Like, meaning, we've been away from each other for a little while, and I feel like every time we come back together, it's just like we spoke a day ago, right? We're just kind of coming back, and I find that with my collaborative partners and JV partners and things of that nature too. You can have amazing relationships if they're built the right way. And even though there's miles apart or you haven't spoke to that person in months, sometimes even years, you're still able to serve each other, with your gifts and talents. So what's your experience in regards to that? Building strong relationships, collaborations?
Being able to really connect with people that you may not otherwise have around you. So there's a lot of successful entrepreneurs who don't have family or friends who understand what we go through. They don't understand the money that we make. It's, they may feel that we're being greedy.
So you don't have a real job though, right?
That you're available to do certain things that when in reality you're doing more work than they
exactly, right?
Yeah.
So those are some of the things. And also like being able to grow your business, grow your brand, get out there, be more visible, being able to make recurring revenue from affiliate commissions. There's just so much that has come about from collaborations for me personally.
Yeah, it's like you're constantly planting seeds, and not in vain, right? Not to be fake. This is like genuine relationships, because there's nothing better than like when you do unplug and you do go on vacation. When you come back, or even in the midst of a vacation, when you receive a message saying, hello, this is, Brian, and Starr just had mentioned your name and thought that maybe you could help me, and then it's awesome. It's a beautiful feeling to know that no matter what's happening in this world, that we can refer one another as well. And it's like, as a partner, as a collaborative partner, we're an extension of each other's brand. That's the beautiful thing, right? Because we're a champion. We're a champion of your brand. So I think that's very powerful. The other thing is too, we live in this technology, as you just said, Christina. We're not supposed to know everything that's happening, but we do. And so testimonials are so powerful that, the negative ones move even faster. And so as you build these great relationships, they always say your brand is what people say about you when you're out of the room. We can champion for one another. So Christina, you don't have to be there. And if somebody starts talking about, your brand, your business, your products and services, like, we have the ability to step in and be an extension and be an advocate of what you're doing. So
that's the beauty of having these strong relationships, and also being a steward of giving, right? Like doing what is right, as opposed to like constantly trying to sell your own thing. It's like, well, if I think that somebody is going to benefit from Starr or Tina or Robert, I'm going to refer them to them over my programs, because I'm like, this is what you need, an expert in this area. You need an expert in this area. And I do that with a lot of my friends, because I do believe in karma. I believe that what goes around comes around. And when you find good people, there's a lot of silly people out there.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff out there that is it's really, really, really not worth your time and effort. And I've lost a lot of money in that place, right? So now I want to be somebody that connects other people to good humans, because not only does that reflect good on me, it reflects good on you too, right? And those relationships, number one, you can't build them on false pretenses. You have to build them genuinely. And I think that a lot of the times people don't build relationships unless they think they can get something out of it. And that is a massive, massive mistake. I believe in the long term, because it doesn't, but granted, you don't build relationships with people that drain your energy, right? Be a collective that you come together and you always feel inspired, or, maybe you're having a bad day and you can bounce things off, but the collective energy is we're all moving forward together. But in the grand scheme of things, I was listening to a billionaire speak and the other day, and he said, the thing that makes me feel most successful is that my kids still want to hang out with me, is that I have really high quality relationships in my life with people that I really enjoy spending time with. I enjoy traveling with, and if you don't have that, life is really lonely. It doesn't matter how much money you have.
Oh, so true. That's the definition of wealth for me. I mean, obviously the monetary thing is a piece. It's inevitable that allows me to move my mission and helping others. But it's all about, are the people that I'm working so hard for on board, with the same mission of, having time
Yeah.
with one another. Because that's gone so quick. How often have most of us said, I worked really, really hard my whole life, and now my kids are teenagers and they don't want to talk to me, right? So it's a sad truth, unfortunately. Were you going to say something, Starr, in regards to that?
No.
Oh, okay.
All her kids love her. All her kids love her. They're over every
Oh.
weekend.
You had that look like I want to say something. All right. So someone was just talking the other day, someone locally here that owns a pretty successful business. I've seen them grow tremendously over the last 4 years. And they talked about in the very beginning, they were just doing a lot of marketing, building a lot of relationships, and they weren't really focused on the ROI, right? The return on investment. However, in the end, as we continue to elaborate on that conversation, like ROI in my world means so much more. I think that before it's an actual physical monetary investment, the ROI, it's still return on influence and it's return on impact.
Yes.
And so if you focus on those two things, you will actually get the return on investment. You'll see the monetary gain. And so never think for any moment that any season of your business, if you're serving and you're helping and you're out there and you're putting content out there and you're putting your brand all across other social platforms, it all is an investment. And you can reap that reward if you don't quit. That's the main thing, right? Like, just don't stop. Don't quit. You may pivot 100 times. You may have to shift many of your goals along the way to achieve that, but just don't quit. Don't stop.
Robert, I, as you know, wrote a book called Beyond Gratitude: Strategies to Attract, Connect, and Convert More Clients, because it is so important to build those relationships. I literally just got a client last week who wants to write a book, who I have been friends with for 15 years. She has seen me go through multiple businesses, but all throughout the same thing around gratitude, around networking, and building relationships that last. And she said, Tina, I remember meeting you at a networking event. You were the first person to come up to me and you introduced me to 5 key people in the room, and you never asked for anything in return. And I was like, and I don't even remember like meeting her. I remember, seeing her at networking events and stuff like that. But just doing that, I was like, oh, wow. She's like, and I would never forget that. You introduced me to one of my biggest clients.
I love it.
I always did that. I always taught people how to do that. But so many people used to come to networking events. I used to own 5 different networking organizations here in Atlanta and Savannah. And they would come in and say, oh, it wasn't for me.
Yeah.
Like the first time there. And I'm like,
be a super connector. Yeah. And in any situation, right? That's why I also say that no matter what you're doing in your business, no matter what your personal and your business brand is, anchor that to your core values. Like, you have to, because then people know you're genuine, and no matter what changes in your life, you can still fall back on that, right? People, like you just said, Tina, no matter how many models you go through or how many even different tweaks to your brand or products and services, people will remember Tina. They'll be like, and I'll just throw out a testimony just to kind of be an advocate of that, is on how that works. For those that don't know my story with Tina, we live literally like an hour and a half away from one another, but we met for the very first time in California. So go figure, right? We're on the East Coast. We met on the West Coast. I was speaking at an event. I was doing a book launch, and Tina's running around helping the person that was coordinating the event because they needed help. So she stepped in and started helping them. And then next thing you know, I meet Tina. We start talking. She's introducing me to other people, just like you said. And we built this relationship. And then she's like, so where are you at again? And I'm like, I'm on the East Coast and far away, South Carolina. And she's like, at the time you were in North Carolina, right?
Charlotte,
but you're like, I'm just an hour north of you. I can't believe that. So, but it's those things that we'll always remember. It doesn't really, products and services are important, but how you make people feel and how you solve the problems of what they actually face in life is more important than anything.
Yeah.
And you'll see many successful companies that have somebody who's in charge of developing those strategic relationships, those alliances, and those collaborations. and they succeed because they're building these relationships, nurturing other people, and, having these friendships. I've met some incredible people online, and they've been so supportive and so kind. And I try to do the same and support other women as well. And people remember that it's not always about the sale, right? It's like, you can support people and give them value without selling them things, and they remember that. And
all the time.
So much can come from that, for you to have opportunities to speak, for you to have, and it's not that you're doing this to gain those opportunities, but it's just a reward that happens from
just
doing.
like Christina said, it's all karma. It all comes back to you eventually. Like I said, I met this girl 15 or 16 years ago, and I was speaking on gratitude, and I had a greeting card company at the time, and I was helping people send birthday cards and stuff like that to their clients every year, so then they feel loved and appreciated. And now I have a business that's publishing and marketing, and she was just like, I've been watching you and I love everything. And now she wants to write a book. And I met her 16 years ago.
Yeah.
So, that offer, like, Starr says, not doing things that you're not trying to get anything in return.
I love that. One of the things I used to say from a coaching platform is that the offer that I'm going to present you with is a lifelong offer. The price may change 10 years from now, but the offer doesn't. So I'm still willing to serve and help you throughout the rest of my life, God willing. And that's how we should treat every single relationship in every encounter that we have. Because
you know what, even if you would never do business with them, they know about 250 people that you could and should do business with. So if you just keep on that relationship and building that relationship with this one person, even though that your stuff, we're never going to probably do business together, they can be one of your strategic partners and referral businesses that will last for the rest of your life. So true. So true. So once again, it's just nice to be here live with one another again. As you see in the live moments, unlike some other podcasts that you see, we don't edit anything. There's no cutting. There's no,
coming in and out.
This is it. Baby in and out.
Brian, if he came in naked again.
Yeah. We've had people.
That did raise our ratings a lot, Brian. Just to let you know, if you wanted to ever walk in halfway naked anytime soon, Brian, we are ready for you.
That's why I have such a short distance behind me, so that never happens. No one can walk behind me and accidentally do that. But anyways,
I will never forget that ever in my life.
You can't see my rosy cheeks right now.
Yeah, exactly. But it's just nice to be together again, and I think it's just awesome to know that when you build a strong network, when you collaborate with the right people, no matter the distance, no matter the time away from one another, we still champion one another. We still have each other's back in any situation. And we're there to really, advocate who they are and how, we can continue to serve. One thing for sure, we may have different goals as far as, what we want to do, where we want to be, financial goals, things that we want to do with our family, et cetera. But one thing that we all have in common, and we've talked about it before on the show, is that we're here to serve others and not just inclusively do it for self, but to serve and pay this forward. And that, I think, is the most powerful thing that we can do in building relationships. So any last thoughts before we close out?
You nailed it.
Anything? We made it. Started from the bottom. Now we're here. Is that right? So
it was just a mic drop throughout the whole entire show today.
Yeah, that's right. So again, follow, like, and share us across social media and other platforms. Uncensored Entrepreneurs. We do appreciate your time. If you have any other topics or thoughts that you'd like to throw out there, or if you'd like to be a guest on our show, please reach out to any one of us. And I look forward to revamping this thing and really focusing on some things that we can do in the new year, 2025. Yeah. We're already planning for it now. If you're a business owner and you're not planning for next year, then you're getting a little behind the gun here. We need to do it. So we appreciate it. Nice seeing you all, and we will talk very soon.
Bye, guys.
Bye.